Thus, the capacity to grasp the idea of likeness is clear in the mind or in the nature of reality. There could not be the reality itself or what then develops. Now, therefore, we have another set of ideas, and these are sometimes called the productive ideas. Productive ideas. Let's do it this way. All right. Next, in order to talk about model and copy as we have, from which we got the idea of likeness, three other ideas naturally follow. Three ideas naturally follow. Model, copy. One idea, what is it? Well, one must be greater than the other. Therefore, if there is the capacity to create in the mind of God, there must have been an idea in the mind of God upon which he modeled the universe. And therefore, since he had that model and he's creating the copy, this must be greater than that. Therefore, the idea of greatness must be the prior idea. The condition for greatness must exist, or you can never have model and copy. Now, in the same way, right, God looked upon it and saw it as good. All right, that means a judgment. Hey, that is good. In the Greek world, God can only create or do an activity that is beautiful. Because that means, therefore, if it's beautiful, all right, let's see whether we can get some of the ideas here. If God creates something and every act is beautiful, then necessarily the whole act must have symmetry, order, patterns, balance, for these are the formal properties of beauty. Therefore, in creating and moving the universe from a one to a many, from the nature of the one to the manyness to the demiurgos to the universe, necessarily, if it is to be an ordered thing, there must be the possibility of order, and the idea of order must presuppose symmetry, patterns, balance, and that's grasped together in one word called beauty. Now, for these ideas to function in any kind of way, and let's talk about in what way. Right? For the demiurgos, therefore, to create the universe, there must already be the conditions for bringing it into existence. Right? The conditions must be prior to the creation. Therefore, before there is creation, there must be the possibility of likeness, greatness, and beauty. There must already exist the possibility of limit, unlimited, one, many, same, another. Notice we can jump back and talk about it. There must be something the same between the model and the copy, or there wouldn't be a model and copy relationship. But in anything that has a model and copy, it also presupposes otherness. Right? Model and copy. This presupposes a one and a many. Limited, unlimited. The model is the limit. That is what it is possible to unfold. The unfolding is the unlimited. Now, for these ideas to function, right, or the possibility of them coming together presupposes, therefore, that each one of these must function in the way in which they most properly are. Say, what does that mean? Each of the ideas, being what they are, has preconditions for the universe. Each must have that capacity, must represent that capacity in the universe, and therefore there must be something in there that allows each of these ideas to function ideally in the way in which they are. That's the idea of justice. Therefore, in the very nature of reality, right, what I'm talking about now as reality is the condition prior to creation. There must be these ideas, or creation could never come into being. Right? For creation to come into being, therefore, these ideas must pre-exist as the condition for creation, And each must function in their proper way. But for each to function in their proper way is to properly function justly. Therefore, there must be something in the very core of the nature of reality, justice. Justice is the most significant concept because behind it are all ideals. Because to have an ideal presupposes that the ideal is functioning in the most proper way possible, and that's another way of expressing the idea of justice. Now, I would like now to shift, all right, and see whether we can bring this a little bit together and say, from the good, for it in some way to be responsible for the cause of a universe, a coming into existence of an ordered universe, there must be a model. This must be the copy. For the one to generate in any way a manyness, right? Therefore, the very idea of one and many must pre-exist. We saw that the idea of one and many presupposes limit and unlimited. Right? We saw how the idea of limit and unlimited, one and many, from those necessarily you can derive the idea of same and other, sometimes called difference, by the way. And those are the basic ideas. Now, for anything to then generate, right, for anything to generate at all, you need another set of ideas. All right, what are they? Likeness, greatness, most importantly, right, well, I'll save justice for last, beauty and justice. These, then, are the ideas that must pre-exist the condition for creation, as these are the very necessary conditions for anything emerging. So these are the fundamental ideas for generation, as these are the preconditions for anything in any way emerging from a primary unity or oneness. Now, the idea of greatness we should talk about. Right? Greatness in this sense means wherever there is something that can exhibit its highest qualities, anything that can exhibit most ideally, right, a magnificence, anything therefore that can show itself most fully what it is, that's the idea of greatness. Therefore, the idea of greatness necessarily involves the idea of excellence. From the idea of greatness comes excellence. From the idea of excellence necessarily comes the idea of virtue. Because, and we can see this quite easily in Greek thought, the English word excellence comes it doesn't come from, but it's a way of deriving or translating the Greek word arateia, excellence. Another way of translating it is virtue, but no one uses the word virtue, or very few people in today's world.